Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to COD Zombies HQ. Ever since the release of Warzone 2 a few weeks ago, something very interesting has happened that a lot of us didn't expect. And that is that the Warzone 2 game mode itself hasn't seen a very positive response within the Call of Duty community in general, but instead within the zombies community, and again seemingly with the Call of Duty community at large, a lot of the positive response to the release of Warzone hasn't been with the original Warzone, but instead with the release of the DMZ mode. The success of the beta version of DMZ here in Modern Warfare 2 does have a massive impact into the future of the zombies mode. I can't wait to talk about it all thanks to today's video sponsor. This video is sponsored by Opera GX, the first browser built ground up for gamers, where one of its marquee features is called the GX control panel, which lets you limit your browser's network usage, RAM, and CPU usage while you're in game, so you can make sure you're getting the best possible performance in game while still having another browser open on another monitor, for instance. The browser features some in-depth color customization too, so if you're gaming at night or in the dark, you don't have to get flashbanged every time you pull it up. And it also includes something called GX Corner, built right into the browser, gives you an at-a-glance view of the best deals, upcoming releases, and breaking gaming news all in one place. And making the switch to Opera GX could not be easier. Using its quick import tool, you can import your browsing history and, most importantly, your bookmarks from your previous browser with just one click. And on top of that, all your favorite browser extensions from Opera and the Google Chrome Store are compatible with Opera GX on top of its already advanced feature set. Opera GX is now available to download for free via the link in the description on your computer and on mobile devices, so be sure to give it a try today. I'll be 100% honest with you guys, and I'm sure many of you might share the same opinion. I personally have zero interest in Warzone itself. It just doesn't appeal to what I'm interested in when gaming. And that seems to be the case for many within the zombies community as well. But back in Black Ops Cold War, Treyarch released the Outbreak game mode, which catered to players with the exact opposite opinion. Players that love Warzone but didn't really like or were interested in round-based zombies, with Outbreak acting as the kind of middle ground between the two modes. And now with the release of the DMZ game mode, with it being player versus environment, PvPvE, you'll mostly be fighting AI enemies, but other real players are around the map and can and will attack you. This is essentially Infinity Ward's version of the Outbreak game mode, acting as a middle ground to players like myself that primarily enjoy Call of Duty for their co-op content, but want a bit of competitive player versus player action packed into that system. So the fact that the DMZ game mode itself has garnered a lot more positive feedback than even Warzone has isn't really surprising, because basically the same thing happened with the Outbreak game mode in Cold War, where that mode was wildly successful according to Treyarch. I kind of see DMZ as round two of those hybrid modes, right? With the first being Outbreak, the second now being DMZ. Now in the future, we basically know that Treyarch will be making another version of Outbreak, an Outbreak 2.0, probably to be released with their next main series COD title. And I wonder if the DMZ game mode and its success might give us a little bit of insight into what we can expect when that Outbreak 2.0 game mode eventually releases. We know that the next few COD games will be running on the exact same engine, something that hasn't been done in a very long time, with Treyarch usually running on their own version of the COD engine, which is part of the reason their games felt so different from Sledgehammer or Infinity Ward titles. But that changes with their next Black Ops title. It'll be running on the exact same engine as Modern Warfare 2. And with one of the marquee features of this new engine with Modern Warfare 2 being extremely large maps that can support a large amount of AI enemies at one time, well, you can kind of imagine how that could easily shift into supporting the Outbreak game mode, which was based on essentially the same thing. Large maps with a lot of AI enemies within them. So now that it seems like it's technically possible for Treyarch to release an Outbreak game mode on a large map like even the Warzone map with zombies replacing the AI, I seriously wonder, and this is probably the most exciting part of this maybe, is what form Outbreak 2.0 will take. With the massive success of Outbreak in the very first game, with a lot of players saying that that mode in Cold War should have been free to play when it released, and now DMZ being a PvPvE game mode being free to play as part of Warzone, there is always a possibility that Outbreak 2.0 could very well be free to play itself, acting as essentially the totally cooperative component of Activision's free to play titles, right? If Warzone is totally PvP, DMZ is PvPvE, and then Outbreak 2.0 would essentially just be PvE co-op, acting as a free to play gateway to the paid content release that we know of as, Modern Warfare 2 and the next Black Ops title, where for the Zombies mode, we would expect that to be more round-based Zombies content. And having Outbreak 2.0 release as a free-to-play title ostensibly with a totally different team than the paid content within the next Black Ops game could solve what started to become a more prevalent issue in Black Ops Cold War. That being the feeling that round-based Zombies content, that traditional Zombies content, started to take a back seat and was receiving less content due to the team's now increased focus on making content for the Outbreak game mode. Splitting them up into two different teams with a free-to-play component and a paid Zombies round-based component could very well help solve that issue. Now, in terms of when we would see this Outbreak 2.0 mode releasing, there is of course the chance that if they do decide to keep it contained within the next Black Ops game, that the community kind of expects that Outbreak game mode would release at the launch of the next Black Ops game in 2024. But of course, if they do go the free-to-play route, we could see a similar release timing to what we just saw in Modern Warfare 2 with Warzone 2.0 and DMZ releasing several weeks after the main game's launch. So where hypothetically Treyarch would release their next main series Black Ops title in October or November of 2024, with 1 or 2 round-based Zombies maps included in the game at launch, and then a few weeks later release Outbreak 2.0 as its own free-to-play game mode. And if you've been following the rumors surrounding Modern Warfare 2 Zombies at the launch of that game, you'll kind of know that there's nothing really there. It's very likely we won't be seeing any kind of round-based Zombies within Modern Warfare 2. That's very much Treyarch's territory. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Zombies replacing the regular AI enemies in the DMZ game mode for a limited time for their Halloween event, giving us an even better glimpse of what Outbreak 2.0 could eventually look like. Whenever we talk about the future of Zombies, I think it's always super important to think about what Treyarch themselves have emphasized as their biggest successes in their past game. And while their pivot away from whatever Vanguard was at launch to round-based maps at the end of Vanguard shows that they do value round-based content as the basis for Zombies, if you remember through their press releases, through their in-game blogs and interviews at the time of Outbreak's release during the season of Black Ops Cold War, they really pushed Outbreak as a massive success, expanding the player base of the Zombies mode. And my personal hope would be that they do go the free-to-play route with the Outbreak game mode, giving everybody a point of entry into the Zombies community at no cost with its own dedicated mode. But of course, it remains to be seen if Treyarch or mostly Activision will agree to go that route. But I would love to know your guys' thoughts on all this. Are you a Zombies player that was never into Warzone, that has actually started playing DMZ and enjoyed it? And would you want the next Outbreak 2.0 to be free to play, or keep it all within the same Black Ops ecosystem? But that wraps up the video, guys. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you with another video very soon. Peace!